Hey, what up, guys? This is Christian Brindle here, back with another video. Welcome to Six Figure Medicare Agent. I have a very special guest here with me today, a guy that needs no introduction. I have David Denning here with me today, who probably is like a godfather in the insurance Facebook group world, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know too many people that have done it on a wider scale than you have. But you also run an amazing agency, and I know you got a lot of things that you do on a day-to-day basis. So I just appreciate you coming on and spending some time here with me today.
Absolutely, psyched to be here. It's an honor. So look forward to a fun discussion. And hopefully, bring a lot of value to any agents listening.
I love it. And we got to meet for the first time about maybe a week and a half ago, maybe something like that at 8%. So that was cool. Like for me, that event was amazing because like tons of people there I'd already met in the past in some trajectory, like whether it be at Medicare Con or something like that. But there's a lot of people that maybe aren't in the Medicare world necessarily that I got to meet, like you, that people that I know of, and I have great respect for, but like we get to connect, meet in person. And I feel like that's what I get the most out of an event like an 8%, right? Like, what would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That for me, it was all getting to meet people in person for the first time. And, especially with COVID being probably the first big in-person event we've gone to and quite a bit, which we're used to traveling and going to things. So for us being people persons and stuff like that, that was big for us just to get out. I mean, it's nice to hear the talks and the breakouts and stuff, but for me to get around and get to meet like you and get to see Joanna again and meet Tony and Justin for the first time and get to see our Closers Click peeps and people from the group and stuff. I mean, that's my favorite part. I could sit and chat with people all day, so I love the kind of stuff that brings people together like that.
Definitely. Well, like your Facebook group, last time I looked, I think it had like 20,000 or almost 20,000 people in or something like that. Like
last week we crossed 20,000. So
congratulations. That's amazing. I mean, I feel like everybody that watches this will recognize you from the group, but like you're a guy that has a pretty kick-ass agency as well. I wanted to kind of dive into your story and kind of how you got into the insurance industry. Like take us back to the beginning. How did David get into the insurance industry? And fast forward, like what got you to a point where you started the Facebook group and what were your expectations going in? Just kind of give us the kind of the breakdown and kind of how that all began.
Yeah, sure thing. And just a clarifying factor, we actually don't have an insurance agency. We actually, run a success program. So our coaches and team behind it have their insurance agencies and backgrounds very much within the industry and stuff. We focus more on empowering them to be more successful in the industry to help that 8% number grow for sure. So we're on the same page of helping more people succeed in the industry and make more impact in people's lives. But yeah, not what I thought I would be doing. So if we're gonna be honest and go back to the past a little bit, I'm not gonna go too far back, but a little bit because it is an interesting, fun little story on how we even ended up here. So I'm gonna go back to high school. At high school, that's where I started dating my now wife, Elle, who's also partner in Jumpstart Go, coaches in the program and everything. But we started dating at 16 and got married at 21 in college. And Atlanta's our hometown. So Atlanta's where we grew up. I went to Georgia Tech and she went to SCAD there. And our degrees, there are definitely components of stuff from our degrees we use. But I will say in general, the degrees do not relate to what we're doing now. Right. So my degree was more in like project management, business focus, but specifically construction engineering focus with that. And then Elle's background was actually interior design, worked for an architecture company. So she worked for architecture company, did the College Football Hall of Fame and some fun stuff forever. And I worked for a big international engineering construction company. And so with that, we knew we liked to live, travel, work in different places. And so within graduating, we very quickly got moved to a project in South Africa for a couple of years. And so moving over there and working on that project and living there, it was an awesome experience. Loved living internationally, exploring stuff. And when they were moving us back, they generally don't build industrial type stuff like power plants and stuff in nice places. It was going to be middle of nowhere, Alabama, or middle of Amarillo, Texas and stuff. And I'm like, I kind of want to be in control of where we live, where we travel. We want to build our own business, especially since we've seen what it's like living and working internationally and running stuff in different places. And so Elle had background in graphic design and web design as well, and we've been servicing some clients and stuff, even while over in South Africa, she'd been working and stuff. And so, we wanted to launch our own company, which we did when we came back. I still kind of did nights and weekends until I eventually hopped in full time on that as well. And we did web design, graphics, marketing for small businesses and startups type stuff. And we did that for a year, ended up in Florida, bought our house here, which now we live in Southwest Florida, Cape Coral, Fort Myers area, and started building that business up, getting a lot of connections. We worked in all kinds of different spaces, real estate, insurance, all kinds of different small business stuff. But we bought our house, and with kind of designing the business to the lifestyle, which, and if you're doing telesales or Zoom in the insurance industry, can also be done as well. We bought our house and would rent it during high season. So when everybody in the cold would come down to Florida, as they do in winter, and things went for triple, we would rent our actual home, and we'd go for 4 or 5 months and work from Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines, and stuff, wherever we're over there. And so we travel, work. There's a pretty cool entrepreneur community over there from people all around the world come gather and hang out and do conferences and stuff together. So those were our people, like very much so. And we're like, we absolutely love doing this and building that. And that's when we eventually met. Actually, a presentation at Accelerator in Fort Myers, our third partner, Renee, who had very much a background in the insurance industry. He'd been in the industry since 1995, serial entrepreneur. And at that point, he had a company doing Facebook ads, social media, and AdWords for about 200 insurance agents and agencies, and a lot with State Farm. And so that was going really well. He realized the really need and help of the industry until like 80% of those were like State Farm clients, and State Farm overnight was like, peace, you can't use third parties anymore. You got to come use State Farm resources. And so pretty much overnight, everyone's like, we're not even allowed to use anybody outside of State Farm. And so, we connected, we've done projects together, and we had similar visions and stuff. And we're like, okay, we want to start something that is a resource for agents that's going to provide more help and support for this industry than the typical, here's a contract, good luck, figure it out. But from a non-insurance like agency's perspective, where we're not just like recruiting agents and stuff like that.
Right.
We don't have really any affiliations to any companies necessarily. And so we just want to help the industry. So we started that Facebook group 3 or 4 years ago, and it grew like wildfire. It grew really rapidly. Just because I think, one, we weren't an insurance company running it because we weren't doing recruiting, so everybody kind of felt safe to put people there because they're like, they're not going to get recruited. And two, we weren't a lead company just selling leads either. So, it's kind of, we really just wanted to add value there. And with that, we would bring in speakers from all kinds, parts of the industry. We do a ton of Facebook Lives. That was kind of a big thing, was doing Facebook Lives in there. And that thing grew and grew and grew to 5,000, 10,000, now 20,000 in there. And throughout that, we really realized, a lot of the needs of agents and agencies where they were struggling, the things they're running into, hearing from a lot of people from the industry, from our own connections. And that's where about exactly a little bit over a year ago, we put together the Closers Click program, which is kind of our core program for experienced agents and agency owners that are looking to significantly grow, scale, double revenue, that type of stuff. And that's where we brought in a lot of awesome and amazing coaches as part of that program, like Sandra Gerpart, who I think you interviewed recently.
Yeah, she's great.
John, a lot of awesome stuff. So that's kind of how we ended up here. Did I ever think I'd be in the insurance industry, especially growing up? Like, I want to be in insurance? Nope, not at all. But absolutely love the industry, love the opportunity it has, love the people in it. And I, we're doing a lot of good stuff. So I'm pretty happy with that, because that's our goal, is to, really our missions and, impact thousands insurance agents and agency owners so they can impact millions with what they do. So that's kind of how we see our larger impact in the industry. So
I love that. And you're doing a great job at that. Your group is a testament to that, in my opinion, like the impact that it has. The one thing that's interesting to me is, like, I don't think anybody really grew up being like, yeah, insurance, you know what I mean? Like, nobody, like, so. And
unless it was in their family, right. if your parents were insurance agents, maybe.
But even still then, like, so I'm second generation. So my dad was a Medicare agent for 25 years before I started. Justin Brock, his dad was in for like 20 years before he started, like, famously, right? So, like, a lot of us are like second generation. I I know for myself, I was never like, yeah, Medicare, like, even still,
you were 3 or 4 putting on a suit and tie and being like, I'm going to sell insurance like my dad. Yeah.
It's interesting, but like, I feel like a lot of people, because the insurance industry is historically known as a 55 to 60 to 65-year-old industry as a whole, right? Older industry, maybe a little behind in the times industry, maybe a little, just a tad. And I feel like, people like yourself, there's a lot of people that I could mention are kind of changing that narrative and pushing it forward to kind of help the innovation of the industry, right? To try to help it evolve and catch up to other industries. Is there a particular trend that you're seeing in terms of like younger agents coming into it than kind of being that new blood at the time?
Absolutely. Because a lot of modern marketing, generating your own leads, your brand awareness and presence and stuff is stuff that they're experts in and relate to because they grew up with it. We even just talk about social media, for example. I mean, millennials and Gen Z, I mean, they grew up living and breathing on that stuff. I mean, even more so Gen Z. I mean, we got Facebook about when I was in high school, wherever when that first hit. And, it just makes sense to us. We understand it. We know how it relates. And even if a lot of us wouldn't be on Facebook except for business, because, let's be real, it's not really a millennial Gen Z platform, but it's excellent for insurance. But I think that's the trend. And, they also realize the opportunity. I mean, if we look at just the current economy, job markets, different things out there, and then just preferences and trends of like millennials and Gen Z, they don't want to do the 40-year corporate job. They don't want to go sit in a cubicle. They don't want to work for someone else, really. They realize that I can bring value. And if I'm going to build something, I might as well build something for myself. And an industry like insurance, where not only allows that, but rewards that heavily if people come in and do that successfully, I think that attracts a lot of them. And a lot of them don't necessarily, at first like, oh, this is a sexy industry. This is awesome. This is the thing I'm going to brag about being in. But when they also realize, like, one, the impact they have, and two, the income potential they can make, I mean, it makes sense that they're coming in, and it makes sense they're being successful if they're allowed and know how to use the things that they're really good at, which are honestly the things that really work today. Kind of moved a bit away from, the magazines and the radio ads and the billboards and, the guerrilla marketing stuff as much. And so now it's like, it's social, it's just really taking advantage of online, digital, whether you're still doing face-to-face or telesales or Zoom or whatever. I mean, I've got good buddies that are selling and running their entire agency from Mexico right now. I'd rather live in Mexico right now and selling insurance in the States or wherever from Mexico. And they're, just rolling out life policies and stuff from just selling from down there. And so, it's cool. The industry can support the lifestyle, I think, that a lot of millennials and Gen Zs kind of want. Make their own hours, do their own stuff, maybe live and travel how they want to, make their own income. I mean, it's an awesome industry. I mean, from Medicare side, I mean, there's those agents that are like, hey, AEP, I'm going to go hard and then peace the rest of the year. See you guys.
Yes. There's so many of those. Like, there's so many agents, they'll go and they'll make just a killing during AEP and they'll just light it up. Then the rest of the year, like they disappear. You don't see them anymore.
I mean, and if that's how they want to run the business, the fact the insurance industry allows them to do that. They want to kill it year round, which I would probably suggest, then sure. But yeah, you want to go, take, 9-10 months off and redo it again the next year. This is one of the very few industries out there where you can do that. So
the question I had for you about, like, digital marketing, social media marketing, essentially, like the way I've always looked at things and the way I kind of approach things in our business is, right, like there's really kind of two different avenues that we can tackle social media, right? You have paid advertising and you have organic, right? Through like content creation, things like that. If somebody is maybe watching this and maybe they're doing things old school, right? They're doing direct mail. They have a power dialer and data, and like they're just doing a lot of old school things. They're calling leads, all that stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with any of that.
Not at all.
But maybe they wanted to start building something or branding themselves in a certain way, or just advertising themselves in a different way. What is the sweet spot in terms of a mixture you feel on the paid versus the organic? Like and I'm sure it depends on the person, and I know it's kind of a tough question, but like, is there a sweet spot to that? Is there like a mixture that they should focus on?
I mean, honestly, I'm a huge, and this is something we focus on a ton, on organic. I mean, it doesn't really matter what your budget is, if you're a brand new agent or an established agent or really anything, the opportunity of organic and diving in there is huge. I mean, if we look at these older school methods, which work, can work great depending on areas, line of insurance and stuff. But if we look at the opportunity now that you can get in front of hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of people, put your brand out there, get in front, very much become an authority in your space, attract those people to you, and become well known, liked, trusted, or like Coach Burt says, a person of interest, and all this type of stuff to drive these people to you for free organically and have that on a regular basis that's scalable. I mean, we have people that their entire pipelines are literally just organic social and some referral partners. And they're doing hundreds of thousands of premium. They're doing commercial, all this stuff from organic. And there's no opportunity that's been out there like that before. Social media and being able to get in front of this audience, target, and for free, and to build and establish that even on a personal brand level, which we very much encourage people to build their own personal brand. Like, you are not your company, you are you, and that's who people decide to work with. They honestly, let's be real, most insureds and prospects and clients out there, they have no idea the names of any of these companies. They barely know State Farm and Allstate, and that's probably the only two because they spend billions of dollars on advertising. The rest, they're like, I don't know. I know Christian is my agent. Christian's amazing. Christian's fantastic. I send everybody to Christian. I don't know what, I just know Christian's the awesome, amazing one. And so that's where that personal branding comes in handy. And even captives, we talk to them all day and they're like, I just tell people I'm Allstate. And it's like, no, you brand yourself and people will come to you if you eventually leave Allstate, anything like that. Like, you're the person that they're loyal to, dedicated to, and working with. And so that's the opportunity you really have on social. Now, I'm a big fan, and I think as you build it up and scale, which everybody has opportunity of because it's free. I mean, it doesn't even take a crazy amount of time investment, but everybody should be building the organic and having that flow. And then you can always supplement with paid ads to fill in gaps in the pipeline as you're doing that. Like, both at scale, especially as you're scaling up, you will have both. But honestly, the organic is a huge opportunity no one's taking advantage of because they also don't know how to do it a lot of the time, or they do all the things that are the exact opposite of what works. And so they'll try paid ads, but also paid ads, if you don't know what you're doing, are a quick way to throw away some money with very little results, especially if you don't know how. And if you don't know how, it makes it tough to hire people that can do it as well. If you're hiring people for things you don't know anything about. And let's be honest, there's a lot of people out there that are happy to take money and deliver no results. Or they don't necessarily know what they're doing either, or the people that are like, hire me from social media management, I'll post on their business page a few times a week, and once again they don't get any results or stuff because that's not what generates them. And so honestly, as far as a balance, I think you need both, but if you're not taking advantage of organic and scaling that up, you're leaving a huge amount of opportunity, brand awareness, and free leads and referral partners that you don't have in your pipeline. I would build that up and you can scale as needed with paid ads, but otherwise I just run into people leaving that on the table. And they're constantly buying leads over and over and spending, which is fine as long as you're getting the ROI on it. But why would you not also have a diversified pipeline that if that lead vendor goes out of business or Facebook shuts down your account or anything like that, your pipeline isn't dried up. And now you're like, well, what am I working right now? Or what are my agents working right now? Even more so if you've got a downline you're feeding. So
yeah, absolutely. Like, I can speak to that as well. Cause like for us, when we probably really started doing organic, what we really do more is content marketing, right? Like, but where we've come probably since we started doing that, maybe about 3 years ago, is mind boggling. Like how long it would have taken us to doing it the way we're doing it before without social media, without the internet, is crazy for me to look back on. And like, we recruit agents, right? We, still sell policies inbound or, internally, but both of those sides of our business have exploded from both, everything that we do. And like, I just feel like people let themselves get inside of their own heads, right? Like they're like, oh, I don't want to get in front of a camera. I don't want to make a video. I'm like, what if I put something out there that's not accurate? Like, who cares? Just put yourself out there. And like, I feel like the people that put themselves out there, they open themselves up maybe to a little bit more ridicule than the rest of everybody else, but who cares? Like they get rewarded for it 10 times over.
And honestly, most of the fear of ridicule is in their heads. Most people aren't actually going to ridicule, say anything, is you're going to get mostly encouragement, or if anybody doesn't like it, just they'll scroll past it, not even say a thing. And so that's something we deal with constantly with like newer ones hopping in the program or coming to us, or just even within the free group of, I'm scared of, hopping on video. I'm scared of putting out posts on social. How do I separate my personal from my business? I'm like, you don't.
Yes.
That is you. That is your
Right.
life. That is the part of it. One, people want to know who they're working with and work with the people they want to work with. And then two, like, your business is part of your life. You can't really separate those two. And the people that don't separate them, and it's kind of an open book and are using social like Facebook for their business, it's all combined and mixed. And that's what really works and is effective. I mean, you can't be a secret agent. You can't hide when you're out there. I run into agents all the time. I can look at their profiles, everything, have zero clue they're in the insurance industry, period. Right. And it's like, you are missing huge opportunities there. And I think, millennials and Gen Z, that's not really a thing. We aren't scared to be in public and putting stuff out there. But obviously a lot of this industry is a little bit older than that as well. And for them, it is a big change a little bit, but as soon as they do it, they realize, oh no, this is not as scary as I thought it was. And this got me results. All of a sudden I'm getting quotes requests coming to me and people reaching out, and people I haven't seen in a while see my video and they say, hey, you know what? We need to reconnect because I do need you to look at my policy and stuff like that, which is awesome. And now they're like, oh, I did not realize the opportunity I had sitting in front of me for free, or ever when back in the day prior to social and Facebook and internet, even, like, if you wanted to get in front of people, you had to pay big bucks for TV or radio. Or billboard or something. And even then, it wasn't a targeted audience. It was a spray and pray, and hopefully the right people are watching. Right. Hopefully the people see the billboard. Hopefully we're tracking this. That's another thing agents don't track very well. But now you have the opportunity to get in front of as many people as you want, and you can really leverage that. And, and I think we both probably agree that this is a relationship industry. I mean, it's all about relationships with its prospects, with its clients, with others in the industry. And the people that get that, and that are social, that are relationships, and are building that and building a well-established brand and trustworthy, that just continues to expand with on social, and you're opening yourself up to more and more of an audience. So for those people, it's an endless amount of opportunities. Now, for the cutthroat, anything for commission and slightly shady ones, is the exact opposite. It'll weed those people out real quick.
Right.
Because as soon as you get a bad rep and bad things, being talked about and happening in reviews, people, and people look up reviews for socks now. So they're certainly going to look up who they're going to work with for their insurance or trust their finances to, especially if it comes to like investments and annuities and stuff like that, or just really in general. And so if you've got even one couple reviews and stuff like that, or they can't find anything about you, we know, as millennials, we're just going to go over to the next person that has a lot of great reviews and that is solid or whatever. And so that's the thing. Right. You got to build up the reputation so people know you and trust you.
Yeah. The cream always rises to the top, and if you're doing good things for people and you're doing a good job for people and you're being honest and working with integrity, it's going to reward you because you're going to get good reviews. People are going to talk about you. But on the flip side, if you're just self-serving, that will get out there very easily as well. Like, it's so funny you mentioned that, because I feel like I was just having this conversation recently with an agent about their Facebook profile. And I told them, I was like, how can people in your inner circle do business with you if they don't know what business you're in? And so it's just one of those things where, like, it's a part of your life. You post about it, talk about it, put an article up about it, put a video up about it. Like, because I couldn't tell you how many people just organically on my social media page, like, it could be someone that I worked with, before I was in the insurance industry as a teenager at a job somewhere, and they're clearly not of age for Medicare, but then they end up helping their mom with Medicare. And they call me up one day and they're like, hey, remember me? I kind of need some help. I'm like, oh, I never would have expected that person, to reach out to me. But like, you just don't know who's watching all this, and who's going to need the help. Like, you just never know. And I feel like people that have this fear, like, the other thing too, is like keeping your profile separate. Like, what do you have to hide? If you have something to hide, maybe you should change your lifestyle a little bit, I never put anything out there that I don't want the whole world to see. Clients, agents, everything in between, my pastor or whatever, and I think that should be the approach that people take.
Yeah, be authentic. I mean, that's the thing. You don't want to have a separate you that people see on social and then you that you work with. and those things don't connect. And people are like, oh, I love this person that I'm seeing on social, and they go connect with you and you're entirely different. There's that disconnect there. And they're like, all of a sudden there's a little distrust, a little bit like, wait a second, like, I thought I'm working with this and you're not like that at all, and vice versa and stuff. And so really, you got to be authentic, and you will work with people that you want to work with. And honestly, not everybody's a fit for everybody. I mean, and that's the thing. You want to work with the people that do want to work with you, that are going to be good clients. And it's nice to be able to have the opportunity to almost attract the people that you do want to work with and repel those ones that you don't want to work with. And a lot of that can come through just being authentic on your profile. Now, not, necessarily encouraging, like taking hard political stances and things like that on your profile and stuff like that. But just being authentic in you, like you like certain things, you have certain hobbies, you talk a certain way, do that same stuff on your profile that you would, that in your business side as well. And so you don't have to have a refined and sanitized, profile and content and stuff that you put out. In fact, no one wants to see that. No one wants to work with people that are super boring, that fall asleep just looking at a piece of their content. They want to work with people that they connect with, they click with. Because honestly, there's a ton of people out there that need help, especially Medicare, as you well know, especially if they drop that age to 60 or ever. I mean, there's not enough help to go around in the Medicare industry almost.
Right.
And so, that's why, you can work with the people that you click and work with, and that's social gives you the opportunity to track that. So,
absolutely. I one question I had for you, because I know you're a big Facebook guy. When you guys are teaching kind of that organic, social media brand, branding, personal branding, all of that, do you typically recommend agents to stick with one platform at the beginning, or do you recommend them pick a couple and kind of work those couple of social medias? Because one thing I get people that come to me all the time, and they're maybe going too hard at the beginning. What I mean by that is like they'll try to get on 8 or 9 platforms and post like 4 times a day on every single platform. I'm like, that's not sustainable, right? Like you're one person, you have other things to do in your business, right? Like that's not what I meant.
Yeah. And there's only one person I know that can do that really effectively, sustainably. I don't think this dude sleeps or ever stuff. His name's Chris Green, the flood guru or whatever. This dude does insane amount of content. In fact, that's the core part of his business. So he's willing to invest the time and everything to put it into, because everything comes through that to him now. And it's hundreds of blog posts. He's done thousands of videos, all on flood insurance, which is crazy to me that there's that much content, that much things on locations too, and go to these things. And he will leverage a ton of different platforms and things, but that's him. He gets the tech, he gets how to automate things, how to put that stuff out there, and how to make that happen. Now, for the general person, which is 99.99% of these people out there, is very much find the first platform, stick the platform, get that effectively rolling, systematize, you know how it works. It doesn't take a ton of time for you there, that you got this as a constant like flow part of your pipeline and stuff before you then go pay attention to other ones. Because most people are not able to even, focus and do the one while still selling, much less do a bunch. And they end up doing a bunch bad without getting results from them. And they say, you know what, this is all bull. None of the social stuff works because they're not doing any effectively. So definitely focus on one. And I will say it depends on the line of insurance, a little bit. If you're personal lines, Facebook tends to be one of the biggest opportunities out there now, will be in 10 years. Who knows? But we go with what's right now the opportunity. Facebook's that commercial. LinkedIn is excellent for commercial. And Facebook can be too as well. And those are probably the 2 biggest ones out there, ones that are up and coming. I mean, obviously Instagram is a big opportunity, especially if you're more visually focused, but it's still probably not going to be as big as the other 2, depending on what you're doing. And then there are fun ones that are coming up. We'll see where they go, their long-term staying power, stuff like that, like Clubhouse, which is pretty cool, and TikTok. I mean, I love TikTok, even though I don't put out content on it. I just enjoy doing it. And we have people in our program that have taken what they've done very successfully on Facebook over the time and built that up, and now are using different format of that on TikTok and stuff like that, and doing it very successfully because they get it at personalities. But honestly, some of them are grandparents rocking it on TikTok, which is crazy to me because the average age on TikTok is like 15 or something like that. So, it's cool. Now, was that the biggest platform to drive insurance prospects and leads right now, especially from the Medicare industry? Probably not, forever, but it's cool to pay attention to what's currently working. But Facebook, LinkedIn, biggest ones. I'd highly recommend to start on one, do it effectively, because most people aren't even doing one effectively before you start doing a bunch.
Right, absolutely. Like, I feel like, I mean, if there's one of two things that will usually happen if you're trying to do a ton of platforms right off the get-go. Number one, you might do it, but you won't spend any time selling. You won't spend any time doing anything else in your business that you need to do. And it's taking money out of your mouth and off your plate. Or you're rushing to do it because you have other things you need to do in your business, and it just gets done poorly, like you said. And
it's like poorly written blog articles and stuff. No one wants to see 2 paragraphs of stuff that provides no value, and you just putting it out because you feel like you got to put something out. Like, if you're going to put out content, it needs to be valuable and something good. Otherwise, you're wasting your time doing it. And that's why people that do content marketing well, like yourself and others, or ever, it has results and it has impact because it's quality content that you're putting out, and it's also part of a larger strategy. Versus just like, well, someone told me I had to put out some blog articles and eventually I'll maybe get some leads and people come down through the road. Well, if you don't know what you're doing and you're just putting out a couple, paragraphs of something, no keyword research or anything like that, I guarantee that blog article isn't going to do anything for you at all. And so, that's the thing that, when people come to us, I love content marketing. I love SEO. But a lot of agents is, it's more like, I need results now, and it's been sold personally and stuff like that. So I like to focus on quicker, faster ones that then they can now expand to the ones that are long-term, much more opportunity and stuff that come from that, like SEO and content marketing, which if you're doing that from an agency, MGA, and FMO standpoint, absolutely content marketing is huge. It's perfect for the brand. It's perfect to get stuff out there, perfect as an authority. And if people are looking any terms that your company and you are the ones who come up with results and stuff for that, it's usually like a Jeff Root's a good example on the life side that for long time has been putting out quality content on life insurance that has generated huge opportunities through the SEO lead gen from that. And so it's just not a quick thing, and not a quick something a newer agent's probably even going to be able to do with being able to provide detailed and valuable knowledge. They got to learn that stuff themselves and put that in place where they can start putting the content out. But content marketing is huge, and a huge long-term strategy, which is awesome for people doing well.
Right. And it's something that, you do very well as well. I've watched a ton of your live streams and your videos over the, past year or two or something, and so, you do it as well as anybody, so, it speaks to the power of it, and, so David, I want to be respectful of your time. I don't want to keep you too long because I know you got other things to do and talk to me all day, but, can you talk a little bit about Jumpstart Go as well as marketing for insurance agents? Like, where can people find the group? And we'll drop a link to it down in the description of this as well. But where can people get in touch? If maybe they see this and they might want to get into a program or do some coaching or something like that. Talk about that a little bit if you would.
Yeah. So Jumpstart Go is the name of our company, but the Facebook group is literally called Marketing for Insurance Agents. We went very straight to the point. We discussed things beyond just marketing, but when we created the group, we're like, let's just get right to what this group is. And so it's very easy to search on Facebook. It should pop up. It's one of the biggest insurance groups out there. It's anybody and everybody who's a licensed agent, agency owner, anything is welcome in there. All lines, captive, independents, and we created that as just a free resource. Honestly, it's industry discussions, asking questions, best practices, strategies. Someone's got referrals to hand out, looking for referral partners. And then we do Facebook Lives every week. I've probably done 500 plus Facebook Lives in there with different people and with ourselves. Like I said, it's not a quick thing, but it's a valuable thing. And so you can hundreds of thousands of posts, you can search all that stuff. But we created as a free resource. Agents come in there and 99.9% of them that'll be their full experience with us is coming in, having that group as a resource and stuff like that. And that's fantastic. We want to make as big of an impact as we can. So we have that group. And then our core focus outside of that group and what we're really working with agents and agency owners week in and week out on that are looking to double or triple that production, that are looking to significantly grow and scale that agency, that are looking for all these strategies, techniques, things that apply for, a full and consistent and healthy and diversified pipeline, their systems and processes, and automation, sales, hiring, and scaling. That's what we do as part of our Closers Click program. So that's kind of our program for agents that are really looking to have momentum, invest in themselves, and really looking to be part of that 8%, that the people that are applying the things that work, along with being surrounded by a community of people that are pushing towards that as well. And so that's just called the Closers Click. And, honestly, if you come to the Facebook group, you can find out a little bit about us in the Marketing for Insurance Agents group, or always feel free to shoot me a message. I'm one of the ones who always has my messenger pulled up. I'm very quick to respond. I just live on social because social is part of our life and business, and I enjoy it. And so I'm always happy to talk with anybody usually, or get them over to someone on our team. But yeah, that's kind of where to find us. And that's where we mostly hang out, on Facebook. And yeah, always happy to talk with people and make connections. I love meeting people from the industry, and that's why I love stuff like 8%, even more so when I get to meet people in person and chat with them there. But, online and Zoom works too, because we're all over the place. So yeah.
Hey, well, I love it. Guys, check out the group. Check out Jumpstart Go. Check out all the above. And thank you for your time. This was awesome.
Anytime, Christian. I'm always happy to chat. So.
Hey, well, we'll have to do more of these soon. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, if something really spoke to you in this video, do me a favor, drop a like on it so it helps more agents just like you find the video. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. Comment what you liked. Maybe comment something you didn't like. Maybe you just don't like me. I'd love to hear about it. In the comment section, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you're notified when we upload, and we'll be back next time with another video. Thanks so much for watching, and here's to your success and your abundance. Thanks.